Psalms 62 through 85 of the Holy Bible American Standard Version. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Psalm 62, for the chief musician, after the manner of Jeduthun, a psalm of David. My soul waiteth in silence for God only. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my high tower. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye set upon a man, that ye may slay him, all of you, like a leaning wall, like a tottering fence? They only consult to thrust him down from his dignity. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. My soul, wait thou in silence for God only, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my high tower. I shall not be moved. With God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. In the balances they will go up. They are together lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart thereon. God hath spoken once. Twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth loving kindness, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. End of Psalm 62. Psalm 63, a psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judah. O God, thou art my God, earnestly will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee, my flesh longeth for thee, in a dry and weary land where no water is. So have I looked upon thee in the sanctuary, to see thy power and thy glory. Because thy loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise thee. So will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hands in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness. And my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips, when I remember thee upon my bed, and meditate on thee in the night watches. For thou hast been my help, and in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. My soul followeth hard after thee. Thy right hand upholdeth me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall be given over to the power of the sword. They shall be a portion for foxes. But the king shall rejoice in God. Every one that sweareth by him shall glory, for the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped. End of Psalm 63. Psalm 64, for the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O God, in my complaint. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of evildoers, from the tumult of the workers of iniquity, who have whet their tongue like a sword, and have aimed their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret places at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil purpose. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, Who will see them? They search out iniquities. We have accomplished, say they, a diligent search, and the inward thought and the heart of every one is deep. But God will shoot at them. With an arrow suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall be made to stumble, their own tongue being against them. All that see them shall wag the head, and all men shall fear, and they shall declare the work of God, and shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in Jehovah, and shall take refuge in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. End of Psalm 64. Psalm 65. For the chief musician, a psalm, a song of David. Praise waiteth for thee, O God, in Zion, and unto thee shall the vow be performed. O thou that hearest prayer, unto thee shall all flesh come. Iniquities prevail against me. As for our transgressions, thou wilt forgive them. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causest to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, thy holy temple. By terrible things thou wilt answer us in righteousness, O God of our salvation, thou that art the confidence of all the ends of the earth, and of them that are afar off upon the sea, who by his strength setteth fast the mountains, being girded about with might, who stilleth the roaring of the seas, the roaring of their waves, and the tumult of the peoples. They also that dwell in the uttermost parts are afraid at thy tokens. Thou makest the outgoings of the morning and evening to rejoice. Thou visitest the earth and waterest it. Thou greatly enrichest it. The river of God is full of water. Thou providest them grain, when thou hast so prepared the earth. Thou waterest its furrows abundantly. Thou settlest the ridges thereof. Thou makest it soft with showers. Thou blessest the springing thereof. Thou crownest the year with thy goodness, and thy paths drop fatness. They drop upon the pastures of the wilderness, and the hills are girded with joy. The pastures are clothed with flocks. The valleys also are covered over with grain. They shout for joy. They also sing. End of Psalm 65. Psalm 66. For the chief musician, a song, a psalm. Make a joyful noise unto God, all the earth. Sing forth the glory of his name. Make his praise glorious. Say unto God, how terrible are thy works! Through the greatness of thy power shall thine enemies submit themselves unto thee. All the earth shall worship thee, and shall sing unto thee. They shall sing to thy name. Selah. Come and see the works of God. He is terrible in his doing toward the children of men. He turned the sea into dry land. They went through the river on foot. There did we rejoice in him. He ruleth by his might forever. His eyes observe the nations. Let not the rebellious exalt themselves. Selah. O bless our God, ye peoples, and make the voice of his praise to be heard, who holdeth our soul in life, and suffereth not our feet to be moved. For thou, O God, hast proved us. Thou hast tried us as silver is tried. Thou broughtest us into the net. Thou laidst a sore burden upon our loins. Thou didst cause men to ride over our heads. We went through fire and through water, but thou broughtest us out into a wealthy place. I will come into thy house with burnt offerings. I will pay thee my vows, which my lips uttered, and my mouth spake when I was in distress. I will offer unto thee burnt offerings of fatlings, with the incense of rams. I will offer bullocks with goats. Selah. Come and hear, all ye that fear God, and I will declare what he hath done for my soul. I cried unto him with my mouth, and he was extolled with my tongue. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear, but verily God hath heard. He hath attended to the voice of my prayer. Blessed be God, who hath not turned away my prayer, nor his loving kindness from me. End of Psalm 66. Psalm 67, for the chief musician, on stringed instruments, a psalm, a song. God be merciful unto us, and bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us. Selah. That thy way may be known upon earth, thy salvation among all nations. Let the peoples praise thee, O God. Let all the peoples praise thee. O let the nations be glad, and sing for joy, for thou wilt judge the peoples with equity, and govern the nations upon earth. Selah. Let the peoples praise thee, O God. Let all the peoples praise thee. The earth hath yielded its increase. God, even our own God, will bless us. God will bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. End of Psalm 67. Psalm 68, for the chief musician, a psalm of David, a song. Let God arise, let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melteth before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of God. But let the righteous be glad, let them exult before God. Yea, let them rejoice with gladness. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name. Cast up a highway for him that rideth through the deserts. His name is Jehovah, and exult ye before him. A father of the fatherless, and a judge of the widows, is God in his holy habitation. God setteth the solitary in families. He bringeth out the prisoners into prosperity, but the rebellious dwell in a parched land. O God, when thou wentest forth before thy people, when thou didst march through the wilderness, Selah. The earth trembled, the heavens also dropped rain at the presence of God. Yon Sinai trembled at the presence of God, the God of Israel. Thou, O God, didst send a plentiful rain. Thou didst confirm thine inheritance when it was weary. Thy congregation dwelt therein. Thou, O God, didst prepare of thy goodness for the poor. The Lord giveth the word. The women that publish the tidings are a great host. Kings of armies flee, they flee, and she that tarrieth at home divideth the spoil. When ye lie among the sheepfolds, it is as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her pinions with yellow gold. When the Almighty scattered kings therein, it was as when it snoweth in Zalmon. A mountain of God is the mountain of Bashan. A high mountain is the mountain of Bashan. Why look ye askance, ye high mountains, at the mountain which God hath desired for his abode? Yea, Jehovah will dwell in it forever. The chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands upon thousands. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the sanctuary. Thou hast ascended on high, thou hast led away captives, thou hast received gifts among men, yea, among the rebellious also, that Jehovah God might dwell with them. Blessed be the Lord who daily beareth our burden, even the God who is our salvation. Selah. God is unto us a God of deliverances, and unto Jehovah the Lord belongeth escape from death. But God will smite through the head of his enemies, the hairy scalp of such a one as goeth on still in his guiltiness. The Lord said, I will bring again from Bashan, I will bring them again from the depths of the sea, that thou mayest crush them, dipping thy foot in blood, that the tongue of thy dogs may have its portion from thine enemies. They have seen thy goings, O God, even the goings of my God, my King, into the sanctuary. The singers went before, the minstrels followed after, in the midst of the damsels playing with timbrels. Bless ye God in the congregations, even the Lord, ye that are of the fountain of Israel. There is little Benjamin, their ruler, the princes of Judah and their council, the princes of Zebulun, the princes of Naphtali. Thy God hath commanded thy strength. Strengthen, O God, that which thou hast wrought for us. Because of thy temple at Jerusalem, kings shall bring presents unto thee. Rebuke the wild beast of the reeds, the multitude of the bulls with the calves of the peoples, trampling under foot the pieces of silver. He hath scattered the peoples that delight in war. Princes shall come out of Egypt. Ethiopia shall haste to stretch out her hands unto God. Sing unto God, ye kingdoms of the earth. O sing praises unto the Lord. Selah. To him that rideth upon the heaven of heavens, which are of old, lo, he uttereth his voice, a mighty voice. Ascribe ye strength unto God. His excellency is over Israel, and his strength is in the skies. O God, thou art terrible out of thy holy places. The God of Israel, he giveth strength and power unto his people. Blessed be God. End of Psalm 68. Psalm 69, for the chief musician, set to Shoshanim, a psalm of David. Save me, O God, for the waters are come in unto my soul. I sink in deep mire where there is no standing. I am come into deep waters where the floods overflow me. I am weary with my crying, my throat is dried. Mine eyes fail while I wait for my God. They that hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. They that would cut me off, being mine enemies wrongfully, are mighty. That which I took not away I have to restore. O God, thou knowest my foolishness, and my sins are not hid from thee. Let not them that wait for thee be put to shame through me, O Lord Jehovah of hosts. Let not those that seek thee be brought to dishonor through me, O God of Israel. Because for thy sake I have borne reproach. Shame hath covered my face. I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. For the zeal of thy house hath eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me. When I wept and chastened my soul with fasting, that was to my reproach. When I made sackcloth my clothing, I became a byword unto them. They that sit in the gate talk of me, and I am the song of the drunkards. But as for me, my prayer is unto thee, O Jehovah. in an acceptable time. O God, in the abundance of thy loving kindness, answer me in the truth of thy salvation. Deliver me out of the mire, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me, and out of the deep waters. Let not the water flood overwhelm me, neither let the deep swallow me up. And let not the pit shut its mouth upon me. Answer me, O Jehovah, for thy loving kindness is good. According to the multitude of thy tender mercies, turn thou unto me. And hide not thy face from thy servant, for I am in distress. Answer me speedily. Draw nigh unto my soul, and redeem it. Ransom me because of mine enemies. Thou knowest my reproach, and my shame, and my dishonor. Mine adversaries are all before thee. Reproach hath broken my heart, and I am full of heaviness. And I looked for some to take pity, but there was none, and for comforters, but I found none. They gave me also gall for my food, and in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their table before them become a snare, and when they are in peace, let it become a trap. Let their eyes be darkened so that they cannot see, and make their loins continually to shake. Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let the fierceness of thine anger overtake them. Let their habitation be desolate, let none dwell in their tents. For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they tell of the sorrow of those whom thou hast wounded. Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of life, and not be written with the righteous. But I am poor and sorrowful. Let thy salvation, O God, set me up on high. I will praise the name of God with a song, and will magnify him with thanksgiving. And it will please Jehovah better than an ox, or a bullock that hath horns and hoofs. The meek have seen it, and are glad. Ye that seek after God, let your heart live. For Jehovah heareth the needy, and despiseth not his prisoners. Let heaven and earth praise him, the seas and everything that moveth therein. For God will save Zion, and build the cities of Judah, and they shall abide there, and have it in possession. The seed also of his servants shall inherit it, and they that love his name shall dwell therein. End of Psalm 69. Psalm 70. For the chief musician, a psalm of David, to bring to remembrance. Make haste, O God, to deliver me. Make haste to help me, O Jehovah. Let them be put to shame and confounded that seek after my soul. Let them be turned backward and brought to dishonor that delight in my hurt. Let them be turned back by reason of their shame that say, Aha, aha! Let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. And let such as love thy salvation say continually, Let God be magnified. But I am poor and needy. Make haste unto me, O God. Thou art my help and my deliverer. O Jehovah, make no tarrying. End of Psalm 70. Psalm 71. In thee, O Jehovah, do I take refuge. Let me never be put to shame. Deliver me in thy righteousness, and rescue me. Bow down thine ear unto me, and save me. Be thou to me a rock of habitation, whereunto I may continually resort. Thou hast given commandment to save me, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Rescue me, O my God, out of the hand of the wicked, out of the hand of the unrighteous and cruel man. For thou art my hope, O Lord Jehovah. Thou art my trust from my youth. By thee have I been holden up from the womb. Thou art he that took me out of my mother's bowels. My praise shall be continually of thee. I am as a wonder unto many, but thou art my strong refuge. My mouth shall be filled with thy praise, and with thy honor all the day. Cast me not off in the time of old age. Forsake me not when my strength faileth. For mine enemies speak concerning me, and they that watch for my soul take counsel together, saying, God hath forsaken him. Pursue and take him, for there is none to deliver. O God, be not far from me. O my God, make haste to help me. Let them be put to shame and consumed that are adversaries to my soul. Let them be covered with reproach and dishonor that seek my hurt. But I will hope continually, and will praise thee yet more and more. My mouth shall tell of thy righteousness, and of thy salvation all the day. For I know not the numbers thereof. I will come with the mighty acts of the Lord Jehovah. I will make mention of thy righteousness, even of thine only. O God, thou hast taught me from my youth, and hitherto have I declared thy wondrous works. Yea, even when I am old and grey-headed, O God, forsake me not, until I have declared thy strength unto the next generation, thy might to every one that is to come. Thy righteousness also, O God, is very high. Thou, who hast done great things, O God, who is like unto thee? Thou, who hast showed us many and sore troubles, wilt quicken us again, and wilt bring us up again from the depths of the earth. Increase thou my greatness, and turn again and comfort me. I will also praise thee with the psaltery, even thy truth, O my God. Unto thee will I sing praises with the harp, O thou Holy One of Israel. My lips shall shout for joy when I sing praises unto thee, and my soul which thou hast redeemed. My tongue also shall talk of thy righteousness all the day long, for they are put to shame, for they are confounded that seek my hurt. End of Psalm 71. Psalm 72, a psalm of Solomon. Give the king thy judgments, O God, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. He will judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with justice. The mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the hills in righteousness. He will judge the poor of the people. He will save the children of the needy, and will break in pieces the oppressor. They shall fear thee while the sun endureth, and so long as the moon throughout all generations. He will come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and abundance of peace till the moon be no more. He shall have dominion also from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth. They that dwell in the wilderness shall bow before him, and his enemies shall lick the dust. The kings of Tarshish and of the isles shall render tribute. The kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts. Yea, all kings shall fall down before him, all nations shall serve him. For he will deliver the needy when he crieth, and the poor that hath no helper. He will have pity on the poor and needy, and the souls of the needy he will save. He will redeem their soul from oppression and violence, and precious will their blood be in his sight. And they shall live, and to him shall be given of the gold of Sheba. And men shall pray for him continually, they shall bless him all the day long. There shall be abundance of grain in the earth upon the top of the mountains. The fruit thereof shall shake like Lebanon, and they of the city shall flourish like grass of the earth. His name shall endure forever. His name shall be continued as long as the sun, and men shall be blessed in him. All nations shall call him happy. Blessed be Jehovah God, the God of Israel, who only doeth wondrous things. And blessed be his glorious name forever. And let the whole earth be filled with his glory. Amen and amen. The prayers of David the son of Jesse are ended. End of Psalm 72. Psalm 73, a psalm of Asaph. Surely God is good to Israel, even to such as are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the arrogant, when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no pangs in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride is as a chain about their neck. Violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They scoff, and in wickedness utter oppression. They speak loftily. They have set their mouth in the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are drained by them. And they say, How doth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the wicked, and being alway at ease, they increase in riches. Surely in vain have I cleansed my heart, and washed my hands in innocency. For all the day long have I been plagued, and chastened every morning. If I had said, I will speak thus, behold, I had dealt treacherously with the generation of thy children. When I thought how I might know this, it was too painful for me, until I went into the sanctuary of God, and considered their latter end. Surely thou settest them in slippery places, thou castest them down to destruction. How are they become a desolation in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou wilt despise their image. For my soul was grieved, and I was pricked in my heart. So brutish was I, and ignorant, I was as a beast before thee. Nevertheless I am continually with thee. Thou hast holden my right hand. Thou wilt guide me with thy counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. Whom have I in heaven but thee? And there is none upon earth that I desire besides thee. My flesh and my heart faileth, but God is the strength of my heart, and my portion forever. For lo, they that are far from thee shall perish. Thou hast destroyed all them that play the harlot, departing from thee. But it is good for me to draw near unto God. I have made the Lord Jehovah my refuge, that I may tell of all thy works. End of Psalm 73. Psalm 74, Maskil of Asaph. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast gotten of old, which thou hast redeemed, to be the tribe of thine inheritance. and Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual ruins, all the evil that the enemy hath done in the sanctuary. Thine adversaries have roared in the midst of thine assembly. They have set up their ensigns for signs. They seemed as men that lifted up axes upon a thicket of trees. And now all the carved work thereof they break down with hatchet and hammers. They have set thy sanctuary on fire. They have profaned the dwelling place of thy name by casting it to the ground. They said in their heart, Let us make havoc of them altogether. They have burned up all the synagogues of God in the land. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet. Neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. How long, O God, shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Why drawest thou back thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom, and consume them. Yet God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the sea monsters in the waters. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces. Thou gavest him to be food to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave fountain and flood. Thou driedst up mighty rivers. The day is thine, the night also is thine. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy hath reproached, O Jehovah, and that a foolish people hath blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle-dove unto the wild beast. Forget not the life of thy poor forever. Have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of violence. O let not the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise thy name. Arise, O God, plead thine own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee all the day. Forget not the voice of thine adversaries. The tumult of those that rise up against thee ascendeth continually. End of Psalm 74. Psalm 75, for the chief musician, set to Altasheth, a psalm of Asaph, a song. We give thanks unto thee, O God. We give thanks, for thy name is near. Men tell of thy wondrous works. When I shall find the set time, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I have set up the pillars of it. Selah. I said unto the arrogant, Deal not arrogantly, and to the wicked, Lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. For neither from the east, nor from the west, nor yet from the south cometh lifting up. But God is the judge. He putteth down one, and lifteth up another. For in the hand of Jehovah there is a cup, and the wine foameth. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. Surely the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth, shall drain them and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be lifted up. End of Psalm 75. Psalm 76, for the chief musician, on stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah is God known, his name is great in Israel. In Salem also is his tabernacle, and his dwelling place in Zion. There he brake the arrows of the bow, the shield and the sword, and the battle. Selah. Glorious art thou and excellent, from the mountains of prey. The stout-hearted are made a spoil, they have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might have found their hands. At thy rebuke, O God of Jacob, both chariot and horse are cast into a deep sleep. Thou, even thou, art to be feared, and who may stand in thy sight when once thou art angry? Thou didst cause sentence to be heard from heaven. The earth feared and was still when God arose to judgment, to save all the meek of the earth. Selah. Surely the wrath of man shall praise thee, the residue of wrath shalt thou gird upon thee. Vow and pay unto Jehovah your God. Let all that are round about him bring presents unto him that ought to be feared. He will cut off the spirit of princes. He is terrible to the kings of the earth. End of Psalm 76. Psalm 77, for the chief musician, after the manner of Jeduthun, a psalm of Asaph. I will cry unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he will give ear unto me. In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My hand was stretched out in the night, and slacked not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remember God, and am disquieted. I complain, and my spirit is overwhelmed. Selah. Thou holdest mine eyes watching. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit maketh diligent search. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? Is his loving kindness clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. And I said, This is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will make mention of the deeds of Jehovah, for I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also upon all thy work, and muse on thy doings. Thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary. Who is a great God like unto God? Thou art the God that doest wonders. Thou hast made known thy strength among the peoples. Thou hast with thine arm redeemed thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters saw thee, O God, the waters saw thee, they were afraid. The depths also trembled. The clouds poured out water. The skies sent out a sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the whirlwind. The lightnings lightened the world. The earth trembled and shook. Thy way was in the sea, and thy paths in the great waters, and thy footsteps were not known. Thou leddest thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. End of Psalm 77. Psalm 78, Maskil of Asaph. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, telling to the generations to come the praises of Jehovah, and his strength, and his wondrous works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generations to come might know them, even the children that should be born, who should arise and tell them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God. The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They kept not the covenant of God, and refused to walk in his law, and they forgat his doings, and his wondrous works that he had showed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of their fathers, in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan. He clave the sea, and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as a heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with a light of fire. He clave rocks in the wilderness, and gave them drink abundantly, as out of the depths. He brought streams also out of the rock, and caused waters to run down like rivers. Yet went they on still to sin against him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert. And they tempted God in their heart by asking food according to their desire. Yea, they spake against God. They said, Can God prepare a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock so that waters gushed out, and streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Will he provide flesh for his people? Therefore Jehovah heard, and was wroth, and a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also went up against Israel, because they believed not in God, and trusted not in his salvation. Yet he commanded the skies above, and opened the doors of heaven, and he rained down manna upon them to eat, and gave them food from heaven. Man did eat the bread of the mighty, he sent them food to the full. He caused the east wind to blow in the heavens, and by his power he guided the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as the dust, and winged birds as the sand of the seas, and he let it fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat, and were well filled, and he gave them their own desire. They were not estranged from that which they desired. Their food was yet in their mouths, when the anger of God went up against them, and slew of the fattest of them, and smote down the young men of Israel. For all this they sinned still, and believed not in his wondrous works. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in terror. When he slew them, then they inquired after him, and they returned and sought God earnestly. And they remembered that God was their rock, and the Most High God their Redeemer. But they flattered him with their mouth, and lied unto him with their tongue. For their heart was not right with him, neither were they faithful in his covenant. But he, being merciful, forgave their iniquity, and destroyed them not. Yea, many a time turned he his anger away, and did not stir up all his wrath. And he remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passeth away, and cometh not again. How oft did they rebel against him in the wilderness, and grieve him in the desert! And they turned again and tempted God, and provoked the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand, nor the day when he redeemed them from the adversary, how he set his signs in Egypt, and his wonders in the field of Zoan, and turned their rivers into blood, and their streams so that they could not drink. He sent among them swarms of flies, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave over their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble, a band of angels of evil. He made a path for his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence, and smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tents of Ham. But he led forth his own people like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them safely, so that they feared not, but the sea overwhelmed their enemies. And he brought them to the border of his sanctuary, to this mountain, which his right hand had gotten. He drove out the nations also before them, and allotted them for an inheritance by line, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and rebelled against the Most High God, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back, and dealt treacherously like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow. For they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. When God heard this, he was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel, so that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory into the adversary's hand. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. Fire devoured their young men, and their virgins had no marriage song. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. Then the Lord awaked as one out of sleep, like a mighty man that shouteth by reason of wine, and he smote his adversaries backward. He put them to a perpetual reproach. Moreover, he refused the tent of Joseph, and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. And he built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth which he hath established for ever. He chose David also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. From following the ewes that have their young he brought him, to be the shepherd of Jacob his people, and Israel his inheritance. So he was their shepherd, according to the integrity of his heart, and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. End of Psalm 78. Psalm 79, a psalm of Asaph. O God, the nations are come into thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem in heaps. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be food unto the birds of the heavens, the flesh of thy saints unto the beasts of the earth. Their blood have they shed like water round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them. We are become a reproach to our neighbors, a scoffing and derision to them that are round about us. How long, O Jehovah, wilt thou be angry forever? Shall thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the nations that know thee not, and upon the kingdoms that call not upon thy name. For they have devoured Jacob, and laid waste his habitation. Remember not against us the iniquities of our forefathers. Let thy tender mercies speedily meet us. For we are brought very low. Help us, O God of our salvation, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us, and forgive our sins, for thy name's sake. Wherefore should the nations say, Where is their God? Let the avenging of the blood of thy servants which is shed be known among the nations in our sight. Let the sighing of the prisoner come before thee. According to the greatness of thy power, preserve thou those that are appointed to death. And render unto our neighbors sevenfold into their bosom their reproach, wherewith they have reproached thee, O Lord. So we thy people and sheep of thy pasture will give thee thanks forever. We will show forth thy praise to all generations. End of Psalm 79. Psalm 80. For the chief musician, set to Shoshanim Edoth, a psalm of Asaph. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, thou that leadest Joseph like a flock. Thou that sittest above the cherubim, shine forth. Before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh, stir up thy might, and come to save us. Turn us again, O God, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. O Jehovah, God of hosts, how long wilt thou be angry against the prayer of thy people? Thou hast fed them with the bread of tears, and given them tears to drink in large measure. Thou makest us a strife unto our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves. Turn us again, O God of hosts, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Thou broughtest a vine out of Egypt, thou didst drive out the nations, and plantedst it. Thou preparedst room before it, and it took deep root, and filled the land. The mountains were covered with the shadow of it, and the boughs thereof were like cedars of God. It sent out its branches unto the sea, and its shoots unto the river. Why hast thou broken down its walls, so that all they that pass by the way do pluck it? The boar out of the wood doth ravage it, and the wild beasts of the field feed on it. Turn again, we beseech thee, O God of hosts. Look down from heaven, and behold, and visit this vine, and the stock which thy right hand planted, and the branch that thou madest strong for thyself. It is burned with fire, it is cut down, they perish at the rebuke of thy countenance. Let thy hand be upon the man of thy right hand, upon the Son of Man, whom thou madest strong for thyself. So shall we not go back from thee. Quicken thou us, and we will call upon thy name. Turn us again, O Jehovah God of hosts. Cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. End of Psalm 80. Psalm 81. For the chief musician, set to the Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Sing aloud unto God our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. Raise a song, and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow the trumpet at the new moon, at the full moon on our feast day. For it is a statute for Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. He appointed it in Joseph for a testimony, when he went out over the land of Egypt, where I heard a language that I knew not. I removed his shoulder from the burden, his hands were freed from the basket. Thou calledst in trouble, and I delivered thee. I answered thee in the secret place of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of Meribah. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will testify unto thee. O Israel, if thou wouldest hearken unto me. There shall no strange god be in thee, neither shalt thou worship any foreign god. I am Jehovah thy God, who brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people hearkened not to my voice, and Israel would none of me. So I let them go after the stubbornness of their heart, that they might walk in their own counsels. O that my people would hearken unto me, that Israel would walk in my ways! I would soon subdue their enemies, and turn my hand against their adversaries. The haters of Jehovah should submit themselves unto him, but their time should endure forever. He would feed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock would I satisfy thee. End of Psalm 81. Psalm 82. A Psalm of Asaph. God standeth in the congregation of God. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly, and respect the persons of the wicked? Selah. Judge the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and destitute. Rescue the poor and needy. Deliver them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither do they understand. They walk to and fro in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, Ye are gods, and all of you sons of the Most High. Nevertheless, ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations. End of Psalm 82. Psalm 83. A Song, a Psalm of Asaph. O God, keep not thou silence. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They take crafty counsel against thy people, and consult together against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. Against thee do they make a covenant. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, Philistia with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assyria also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Selah. Do thou unto them as unto Midian, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the river Kishon, who perished at Endor, who became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and Zeeb, yea, all their princes like Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, Let us take to ourselves in possession the habitations of God. O my God, make them like the whirling dust, as stubble before the wind, as the fire that burneth the forest, and as the flame that setteth the mountains on fire. So pursue them with thy tempest, and terrify them with thy storm. Fill their faces with confusion, that they may seek thy name, O Jehovah. Let them be put to shame and dismayed forever. Yea, let them be confounded and perish. That they may know that thou alone, whose name is Jehovah, are the Most High over all the earth. End of Psalm 83. Psalm 84, for the chief musician, set to the gittith, a psalm of the sons of Korah. How amiable are thy tabernacles, O Jehovah of hosts! My soul longeth, yea, even fainteth, for the courts of Jehovah. My heart and my flesh cry out, unto the living God. Yea, the sparrow hath found her a house, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young. Even thine altars, O Jehovah of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house, they will be still praising thee. Selah. Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are the highways to Zion. Passing through the valley of weeping, they make it a place of springs. Yea, the early rain covereth it with blessings. They go from strength to strength. Every one of them appeareth before God in Zion. O Jehovah God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. Selah. Behold, O God, our shield, and look upon the face of thine anointed. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. For Jehovah God is a sun and a shield. Jehovah will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O Jehovah of hosts, blessed is the man that trusteth in thee. End of Psalm 84. Psalm 85. For the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Jehovah, thou hast been favorable unto thy land. Thou hast brought back the captivity of Jacob. Thou hast forgiven the iniquity of thy people. Thou hast covered all their sin. Selah. Thou hast taken away all thy wrath. Thou hast turned thyself from the fierceness of thine anger. Turn us, O God of our salvation, and cause thine indignation toward us to cease. Wilt thou be angry with us forever? Wilt thou draw out thine anger to all generations? Wilt thou not quicken us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? Show us thy loving kindness, O Jehovah, and grant us thy salvation. I will hear what God Jehovah will speak, for he will speak peace unto his people and to his saints. But let them not turn again to folly. Surely his salvation is nigh them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth are met together, righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth springeth out of the earth, and righteousness hath looked down from heaven. Yea, Jehovah will give that which is good, and our land shall yield its increase. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall make his footsteps a way to walk in. End of Psalm 85.